I was watching the Beckham one on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's out right now.
I didn't even know they did the treble for the first time after the war. I didn't give a shit.
1999, right?
Yeah. I was trying to think about it. What is it about these things? And I feel like it's the way they tell the story.
I saw this clip where we're from a very working class family. David Beckham comes in and says, "Working class, what car did your dad drive?"
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one? And then she tries to avoid the question.
yeah.
What did he drive? What did he drive? What did he drive? My dad drove a Rolls Royce. Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast. This is Popcorn Rants, the show where we try to talk about movies. And we've got a guest here today.
Yes, Mr. Dash.
That's right. Dash was my former director of photography when we did a short film. Yeah. How long ago was that, man? Do you remember?
I think it was 2014.
2011, dude.
2011.
Yes.
That's like 12 years ago. Holy moly.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We've actually done one or two short films with the interrogation thing. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember that
So
one.
that might have been later. Yeah, that was later.
There was a sci-fi film that we did.
Yeah, that was
the time
2011.
Travel. Then there was another one where you take some sort of like mushrooms and
Oh, the wife.
the lady comes from like some other place.
Oh no! It's not mushrooms. That was from the future. Yeah, yes.
I played a reporter. Like,
Oh yeah. That one didn't work out so well.
Oh.
So what I realized about my short films, right, is that when my target is here, but my budget is here, the bigger the gap, the worse it looks.
Right.
So like if you can still do a decent sized production, but your budget and your production need to be closer. So like the first one, it was closer than the second one. The second one I had like no money at all to do that one. So that one didn't come out so well.
The first one you got us like a very fancy
Lens, yeah.
What they were like Canon L lenses. They were
Yes.
really expensive to rent.
They were like more than 10K.
Like you cannot even buy, you have to rent.
Yeah, we
like.
rented.
to rent.
You know, you don't rent usually. You don't buy usually for production. You rent whatever you need. You're only using it for the like 1 week or
But
whatever.
that one turned out to be really nice, right?
Yes.
I was really like when we shot the film, and because at that time I was working on another short film and it was a mess. And when we finished Shaz's film, I thought to myself like, man, he can't edit this thing because it's all over the place. But then he called us for the
Premiere.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
It was really good.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? I realized about that. I submitted it for a short film contest. It was a sci-fi short film contest for the Sci-Fi Channel in Singapore. We got top 4, so it was like top 4 or top 5. I can't remember. We were in the like voting list, but we didn't win. But the fact that we made it into like the top 5 was already like pretty decent for that time,
Wow,
right?
top 5.
But I realized that making short films, there's very little payoff.
Yeah.
Because that film cost me about 4 or 5 grand to do
great.
for like about 15 minutes or something like that. And after submitting it for the short film contest, they didn't lead to anything else
return.
besides, right? So I realized that I want to do a feature after that. I think it's just time to do a feature. I probably should do one more short film before I do that because I'm so out of practice. But I think doing a feature, even if you manage to do it within about 50K, I think it's possible that like on the cheap end. Then at least you have a product that you can sell.
Yeah.
Like a short film, you can't really sell it as anything. So yeah, unless you want to do maybe like a pilot for a TV show, that could work. You try to sell it. But
So okay, in film,
Yeah.
in a production,
Yeah.
you are usually what?
Me,
Director.
I am the producer and the director.
You will usually be in most of your average out.
I mean, like if it's like Shaz is doing, I will come and take over a responsibility, and I will be making sure that thing is done.
Okay.
But film is like an organism, right? You have hands and legs,
right,
and
right.
everybody has to do their job.
Right.
It's literally impossible for one person to do the whole thing. If
Yeah.
he's doing story, he's doing direction, he might be acting in it. I mean, these things are possible in theory, right? But then everything requires a set of attention which you won't be able to give.
Yeah.
So you need to have people that can do it. But if you were really passionate, which he was at that time, right? I mean, he was the only person I knew who talked about making film and was spending money.
Right.
Right.
Not just lip service.
No. he was like, okay, Dash, there's a film, and I've got this much budget. Or which camera should we use? I'm like, this camera. Like, is this guy crazy? Is he really gonna do it?
Right.
And then we have like actors and like models, and one
Yeah.
of the actors, I saw him in a TV commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
The female actress was really
Lisa Lewis, yeah.
She was also very good.
The guy Meng, he's on Netflix.
Oh.
He's one of the sons of Genghis Khan in Marco Polo. If you
Is
look,
it?
yeah.
Oh, I like that show.
Yeah.
The first season was amazing, but
I went to audition for the second season, and they asked me, "Can you ride horses?" And the thing is that I have taken horse riding lessons
have?
when I was like 8, 9, something like
You
that.
don't have it anymore, lah.
But they always say exaggerate what you can do in an audition. If somebody, and that's my mistake also. I went half and half because two things. I went half and half on that, and the second thing is that I lived in KL, so they were not too keen with it because they're shooting in what is the name of the studios in Johor? It's a very famous studio, Pinewood Studios.
Pinewood.
Yeah, Pinewood in Johor. Before they closed down, now I think it's
they
no
shot
more already.
that in
Johor, yes. Marco Polo shot in Johor, yeah. So I went down for the audition. They asked me if I could ride a horse, and then I said, I took horse riding lessons at one point. I guess I can kind of. I shouldn't have said that. I should have just said, yeah, I ride horses all the time. You know? I should just say that.
Fake
right?
it till you make
Fake it
it.
till you make it. A lot of actors, that's what they do. Anything that they ask you in an audition, can you do it? The answer is always, yeah, of course I can do it. You know. And they didn't like the fact that I was staying in KL, so I never got a call back for that.
Marco Polo is the one with Braun, right? Braun Palare. Bront Palare. No?
I don't know the name, but it is the first season was just epic. I mean, I just loved it. I just binge watched the entire season. Season 2 became a little bit of a
We were just talking about this last week, I think, where so many shows, the first season, wow, you
Yeah.
just can't wait to get to the next one. Disappointed.
yeah. Well, I think one of the shows that I absolutely loved the entire 3 seasons were Emily in Paris, which came out a few years ago. Have you seen
yeah.
it?
No, I haven't yet.
It's just brilliant. I mean, Emily in Paris is just on. I mean, how it's produced, the production quality, the actors in it, the way the story moves, and the one of the characters, the Paris, the city, right?
Right.
It's just so brilliant.
I got some info about that. Do you know that why they call it Emily in Paris is because they thought that it would be called Emily in Paris.
Emily in Paris.
But apparently French people do not call it Paris. That is an Americanized version of what they think French people. And a lot of people in France were very insulted with that show.
Oh.
Because it's not portraying an accurate depiction of France
France.
at
That's
all.
right. It's like a very glamorized world where
Yeah.
like I'm sitting in my house, I'm like, man, I should be in Paris.
Not like that at all. And they're saying that, people in France only start work at 11. And a lot of people in France are like, what the hell? What job is this?
Did you guys hear the latest issue
What?
in Paris and all of France apparently?
Right.
Bed bugs.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. What's up with that?
Apparently there's an infestation like on the LRT
Okay.
trains, on le train,
Right.
in the hotel bed.
Right.
And the problem is people come to Paris to work a lot, right? Or wherever it is that they bring it back home and then it just spreads.
Right.
But what is this like some kind of new rogue mutant bed bug or what's
I don't
happening,
know, I
man?
don't know.
Bed bugs have been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah, and
thousands of years.
And I can say it's like kind of true because even my brother had to when eventually when he was packing to move to a new place, he had to vacuum pack his things to make sure that there's nothing like clean, hot water, everything, vacuum pack everything,
Right.
just to make sure that none of them followed him to the new house.
Right.
So this was like a couple of years ago.
Right.
So I'm guessing maybe it's getting worse. The reason why they're doing it is because of some sports thing happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some sports thing is about to happen next year, 2024. There, I'm not sure what the sports thing is, but they're saying we gotta get rid of these bugs before they come, otherwise it's gonna be an issue. Can you imagine if they came and then it was a mutant bug thing, and now they bring it to every country in the world where the athletes are from? Oh,
I heard of a bed bug like catastrophe, saying it's a bed bug fears grip Paris. As French minister pledges action. Like what? Bed bug infestation. Like I've never heard of this.
I had a bed bug infestation in my house.
Right.
It took us a good 6 months
To get rid of
get
it.
rid of them.
Right.
So we called exterminators 3-4 times because the exterminator had like a, if you don't get rid of it, we give you a free something, no matter how many times or maybe up
Right.
to X number of times. We had to call them like 3-4 times.
Right.
And
How do you know you've gotten rid of it?
when you don't, when you stop itching. Every night, man, I'm itching like
Right.
for 6 months.
It's only when you're sleeping.
Yes. When you turn on the lights, you don't see anything at all, almost, unless you go and dig to the cover and then you like look down under the fold. Then you'll see these guys.
Right.
And a lot of the times when you see these guys, you squish them, there's blood, which means they already
Yeah.
suck you.
Right.
Oh man, it's terrible. And we actually, what we did was we called it exterminator. Then we bought this thing called dichotomous earth.
Okay.
It looks like a powder, and it looks like a flowery powder.
Right.
What you do is you spread it everywhere around your bed,
Right.
from the cupboards, any wooden places,
Right.
where you think that they might be hiding. You put it on the perimeter. Why? What does it do? This dichotomous earth, if you magnify it with a microscope, you will see it's just like super sharp spikes, and the bed bugs will naturally just die in it. So we did that, and then we called the exterminator, asked them to just spray the room, spray it all over, and we all stepped downstairs for like a good 3-4 months. We had a tent, so we were camping in our living room for 3 or 4 months,
Right.
just because we didn't want them to keep living.
Yeah.
But the
Right.
problem is also, I realized bed bugs can, if you check it out,
Right.
literally live without eating blood for 6 months.
I sense a zombie movie here working somehow. You know what I mean?
Zombie.
It's gotta be a-
bed bugs.
Yeah, like bed bug bites you, and then somebody else sleeps in the bed, and the bed bug bites that person. Zombie
Ooh,
virus
zombie
gets
virus.
spread.
Maybe a
Yeah.
Marvel superhero like Ant-Man,
Oh, bed bug man.
like Bedbug Man.
Hey, wait. Wasn't there a bug thing recently that came out? Blue something.
It's a
Blue
DC,
Beetle.
DC film,
Yeah,
right?
Blue
DC
Beetle.
film.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I have not seen it, but I plan to see it. The thing about the DCEU, right, is that it supposedly ended already. But they ended it, and then there's still like a bunch of DC movies that came out. Blue Beetle, Black Adam, The Flash, and then the latest one that's going to come out is Aquaman 3. So it's like, okay, we've still got so many DCEU movies, and they're just going to cancel the whole thing, right? And on top of all of that, they randomly have the Batman, not connected to DCEU. They randomly have the Joker, not connected to the Batman or the DCEU. What is all of this, man? These Marvel, some of it might be a bit disjointed, but they're all connected in the same universe.
They,
Yeah.
they did quite good because they spent quite a lot of money.
Right.
Like we have like 8 years of Marvel films that destroyed all the other films.
Right, right.
Now
yeah.
you are getting some action films which are not Marvel films.
Right.
But DC I think had better characters. I mean,
Right.
I don't read comics that
That
much,
much.
but I think Superman was really scrutinized by DC films. Like
Mm-hmm.
it had a lot of potential. You have a person who is like almost perfect. How do you make him vulnerable?
Right.
I mean, the kryptonite is not the only thing, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
try to give him a mother
Right.
to make him more human, but they just, I mean, they just couldn't do anything with it. The only
Yeah.
character I think they can still make money with is Flash. Flash has a lot
Right.
of potential. You
Yeah.
have this speed, time
Yeah.
warping,
Yeah.
and all this stuff. Can be like a Spider-Man for
Right.
Oh, yeah. He is kind of like a
he's
Spider-Man
really
for that.
cool. I mean,
Right, yeah.
he's really nice. I mean, even in the X-Men movies, the guy who's the son of Magneto, who's also very fast.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. I mean, the way they shot those sequences,
Yeah.
right?
Fantastic.
They don't do the same with Flash.
Yeah.
They just try to make Flash as a very funny, comic guy, right?
Yeah.
But if they give him a lot of
Effects.
human potential, like
Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of human emotions.
Nowadays, in the realm of super megapixel phones, can't you just get a bunch of friends with 7-8 phones and
Yeah.
shoot?
You can, but a good film and a very good film, they're all aspects like
Right,
story and
right,
everything.
right.
Everything is done right. But a very very good film, the sound is epic.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you feel everything that is being moved, and that is the experience you get. Because if you close your eyes, you imagine a soundscape, and if I play a soundscape right, you are there. So
Right.
these small things really matter, and it's very expensive. I think the
Yeah.
first film that you
Yeah.
did, you actually got a sound guy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
And he
got a
did,
professional sound guy,
An
yeah.
amazing job, and
Yeah.
you watch that short film.
Is this the one which starts in the server room
Yeah.
That was like the biggest crew that I ever had. A lot of things I learned from that production. Unfortunately, I never managed to take it to the next level. I tried to at some point. I had a little bit of money. I wanted to move forward with it, but then I had some financial difficulties after that, so it didn't work out.
Are you also a camera guy or?
Yeah,
no?
he's a camera guy.
You're a camera guy.
Yeah, I started with like photography and then moved into, because the camera that Shaz is recording, that was one of my first camera.
No shit.
This was a DSLR that added a video capturing capability,
Yeah.
and we could use the lenses, and I was like,
Oh.
wow.
Right.
It was an entry point to a lot of people at that time. I mean, nowadays we have phones, right? I'm talking about when we had like Nokia phones
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
with the buttons. And
Yeah.
at that time, owning something like this with your hard-earned cash,
And these things aren't cheap. They're like
they were expensive.
$3,000
Yeah.
just the body or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
something like
So one of the problems shooting with phones, right,
Okay.
is that you don't have control over the color correction.
Exactly.
And you don't have control over the zoom because phones tend to auto zoom for you. And also, if there's something that the light changes or whatever, right? The camera tries to change to
Recorrect.
compensate
Right.
for like whatever the lighting is.
Basically, it's a bit too smart.
Yes. So if you have a camera that you've already set the lens, the aperture, and everything, right? It will just record it in that whatever it
As
is.
is.
As is, yeah. Because sometimes you want that difference.
Right.
You know? Whereas a phone is just trying to give you a perfect video. This is the part where we got chased out of the car park. So we had to shoot everything in one go.
It's like
We
the
had no
camera
time.
is moving and shaking,
Yeah.
compose the shot. But it turned out well, right? Like they were like
It looked like we were. It was like a meant to be.
intentional sort
Intentional
of.
Yeah.
movements, okay.
Like this is supposed to be like add tension to it, right?
Where you can see the focus is.
Yeah.
This is what you mean
Yeah.
going left and right.
Yeah.
You usually you would have take this guy
We
first.
will frame it.
Take
We will,
another
we will
one.
tell
Yeah.
them to stand here. Then I will
Right.
move with the camera.
Right. This is
But
just
this
like
was just like say the dialogue. We'll just shoot.
Yeah. The guards were literally chasing us out. We needed 3 days in that car park.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, we shot for like how many days?
We shot for like about a week.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh wait, that was. Is that effects?
Yeah.
How did you? Is it like a physical effect or a digital effect?
Digital effect.
Digital effect. Wow,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah, see it again? It done in After Effects.
Oh.
but he did a good job, right?
Yeah.
He was like,
And the projection also. Yeah,
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah, he acted it very well.
Like one thing I realized from this film, if I could improve on it or criticize it, right, was there was an exposition dump at one point where he was like overly explaining it, and I guess the problem with the short film is that you're trying to relay a lot of information in a short period of time, and of course, what do you think this bracer is? This hollow
Oh, this
bracer.
thing.
What do you think it is?
I wonder what to do with it. Don't do this.
What do you think it is?
Can you imagine?
It is a PSP casing.
Oh. No tech at all. It's just a casing.
Yeah.
Okay.
oh,
So
that's right.
this is one of the better side. This is one of because this one had a 3D render of the bullet and the
Right.
texture, right? The bullet casing flying, and then if you notice that there's like a warping around the bullet
Okay.
of the footage behind it to represent the heat. So there was a lot of like effects that went into this this particular shot.
Right.
There was this shot where the car gets hit, and
Yeah.
then you have to do the
Yeah, in reverse.
in reverse. But there was a lot of shattering involved. Right?
Oh, the
Yeah,
shattering
yeah.
glass. I remember that.
Yeah, this is in my After Effects heyday where there was so many effects that I wanted to try out. Yeah.
This one. We had a skateboard, or what was it like? We were on. Like
No,
we were,
the car's in reverse.
Ah.
It started close and then it reversed away.
Ah.
And then you play the thing in reverse. And this is the server
Short
room,
film.
all
yeah,
green
this is the
screen.
server room. I remember this. And I remember this girl too.
Okay, sure.
No rest for the wicked, you know.
Just don't keep me waiting.
Management wants me to run some
Okay.
diagnostic checks.
We couldn't get anyone to let us shoot in their server room. So this is the best that we were going to do, green
It
screen.
turned out really well.
It turned out okay, I think. Like there's some parts of it which is distorted. Like I tried to get things on the screen to run. If you see that there's something running on the screen here. So like this part, is like trying to show the background is out of focus, like that. That didn't work out so well because I only had limited footage of like a server room, and they're not in the same scene. So
Right.
this is like his part of the screen and the other part. So
Laptop.
yeah, there was a lot of. So I was script writer, producer, director, and sound special effects person.
Okay. And the sound guy is that guy you were talking. What's his name?
Chris. I remember it was Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris Higgs. I actually did a gig with him after that. Astro Tutor TV. So for like 2.5 seasons, he was my audio guy.
Remember there was a break in between that we had to go for lunch, and he took me to his apartment. And
Oh, he stayed in an apartment. He stays in a house.
No,
when I
sorry,
was
a house.
Right.
You had this like setup, like a huge television.
Yeah.
Where he would be doing his sound, and
Oh, wow.
and the CPU was in another room.
Yeah, it was in the kitchen.
connected. Because he said, "Hey, I don't want any sound."
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my-
Wow, he was serious about this
Yeah.
stuff.
That guy, that guy introduced me to the world of like, oh wow, sound is a major part because he
Yeah.
played some. There's this documentary from the 1990s, Buraka.
Baraka. Yeah.
And he was like, watch this. This is nothing but
But sound and visuals, no dialogue.
Right.
It's-
Okay.
It's amazing.
He introduced me to that, and I was like, wow, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I never pursued that thing at that time,
Yeah.
but it was like he was really into sound.
Yeah, no, he's a sound guy. He does all the professional like TV shows and stuff like that. So that's why he's got that setup. I even got a script recently from somebody who asked me to read and review their script. And the thing is, if somebody asks you to read their content, right? You're gonna have to take time. You gotta think about it. You gotta give feedback. And what happens if after all of that effort, they don't like your feedback and they get angry? You know what I mean? It's a thankless job,
really
right?
difficult.
It's a thankless job. So it's kind of like, do I even want to do this? And I read his script and it was bad.
Oh no.
It was bad.
But
It-
what do you consider bad? I mean,
so
what is-
he wrote the script. First of all, it's taking place in Malaysia. Everybody's speaking American English. That was the weirdest thing about it. Okay, so and even he met a police officer, and the police officer said because he was met a security guard. Security guard speaking English, very strange already. Okay, never mind. Then he meets the police officer. Police officer speaking English to him, also very weird. And then the police officer says to him, "Step out of the vehicle." Dude, Malaysian police officer won't talk like that. They say, "Hey, you get out," you know.
Come out, come
out. Come on. That's what a Malaysian police officer will say. They're not going to say, "Step out of the vehicle." Even if he speaks perfect English, he'll be, "Come out of the car." That's what he'll say. He will step out of the. That's an American movie police officer. I've never even seen an American police officer in like a dash cam video say something like that. You know.
I think that only happens in Hollywood,
Hollywood
films, right? Like we get a lot of information. The movie is like, oh, it should be like this.
Right.
Like right nowadays, I see a lot of Bollywood films which are made for Netflix.
Right.
And most of those films have this like they've got this guy, and I've watched Bollywood films from the 90s, right, when
Right.
I was a small kid. And the comparison of the 90s Bollywood police force and nowadays,
Right.
it's more Americanized.
Right.
Right.
The guy is sitting in his chair and he's like, I have rights, I have to call a lawyer, I have to
right.
do this and that. And it's all spoken in Hindi, right?
Right.
And I'm like, bro, I mean, come on.
That's not
doesn't
how it
happen.
works.
You may be addressing the Netflix audience around the world,
Right.
but that's not the reality.
It's not
Right.
reflective of what's going on.
Nobody does that. The police is not gonna say like, we can't touch you right now. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
It's
Right.
gonna go quack, 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 quack.
Yeah.
No, we didn't touch him.
No, in fact, when I'm looking for a scriptwriter, right, the Malaysian scriptwriter that I had, she asked me for 20,000 to write my script, and I was like,
Dollars.
ringgit.
Okay.
But I was like, no, that's way beyond my budget. My budget was more like about 2,000 to 2,005, and she got mad at me. She was like, why did you put it in the Facebook group then? If that's your budget, nobody's going to shoot your film for that amount of money. There's maybe some students might be willing to do it. She gave me a whole lecture about how like that's not an acceptable amount. And in the end, she still took the job. And then I said to her, well, it's because I can get my script written if I pay somebody on Fiverr to write it. It's about it's about $300 to $400 US dollars, which comes out to about that much. So I'll just pay someone on Fiverr to write it. And she's like, so you're going to get somebody from India to write your script? And I'm like, why do you think somebody from India would be a worse script writer than you? Like, India makes how many films a year? You know what I mean?
Are you still doing film?
Um,
Of your own, I mean.
I mean, there are. I mean, I did a reaction channel for
YouTube.
not plugging it in here. I'm not gonna show you.
Okay, okay.
But I did a reaction channel on YouTube for like 3 years. I got to like 60K.
Okay.
And then it sort of became like just sitting in front of a
60K viewers.
60K subscribers.
Subscribers,
Oh,
wow.
sweet.
I got on that, yeah.
Is that wow?
So I was mostly targeting Indians because I
Okay.
speak Hindi and
Right.
Urdu is the same thing. So there are a lot of movies being made. So it was
Right.
mostly reacting.
Right.
But for me, it started off as a nostalgia because
You
I'm
like
into-
watching these shows?
I'm into old music. I think we discussed this
Oh.
a long time ago in one of the meetings we
Okay,
had at
okay.
the company. And I wanted to share what I liked about those things because apparently it turns out I'm more interested in music
Right.
than films.
Okay.
So it was a way of like sharing that experience and that knowledge. And it became something else. It I started getting requests like, you need to watch this trailer, you need to watch that.
Okay.
And what I really discovered a niche for myself was when I actually got introduced to old 80s, not 80s, but 60s, 70s.
Right.
I was interested in 40, 50, 60s
Right.
Bollywood, which was amazing.
Right.
But then I got introduced to Tamil music.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
Really?
Bro, it is nothing like you hear now, right?
Right.
Now it's very commercialized.
Okay,
At that
okay.
time, they had like proper lyrics. I still don't understand the Tamil
Right.
language. But I got introduced to this guy called Sivaji Ganeshan.
Oh, Sivaji, yeah.
Sivaji Ganeshan, who is an actor.
Yeah.
And T.M. Soundarajan.
Soundarajan is the king.
Okay.
TM Soundarajan is the king.
Just so epic. So I dedicated myself, like, I'm going to watch as many songs as possible.
Right.
But then the problem with these reaction videos is that you get a copyright claim.
Right.
So everything gets blocked.
Right. The music, you can't play the
Your-
music.
Everything gets blocked, and there's no what do you call that intellectual value that you can bring
Right.
into the thing,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I completely stopped that. It's always a learning, like
Right.
you learn from the thing.
Yeah.
I learned from the YouTube channel how to grow a channel, right?
Right.
Right.
So I can pretty much consult someone to do certain kind of things to actually
Right.
grow a channel.
What you need to get your video viewed.
There are like things that you talk about, like maybe something that is trending.
Okay.
You
Right.
can
Okay.
ride the
Yeah,
trend wagon,
right,
and
yeah.
then you can make the video. But the problem is it will just die down, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times people focus on things that other people are doing and it's working out. A big example would be when I started the reaction channel. In that space of like Tamil, there was nobody doing that.
Right.
Oh.
And then now there are like hundreds of channels. I did it because I liked it, right? It wasn't like, I wanted to start a niche or something.
Right.
But a lot of time people just would do things because others are doing it.
Right.
They're not doing things that they like.
Like, they're just copycatting because
It's
this might
copycatting.
make money.
How different is Tamil to Hindi or Urdu?
Super different. It's a
Completely different.
Oh, there's
Two
no
different
comparison.
languages.
There's no.
Yeah.
But what I know is that what I found out is there's a lot of literature written in Tamil.
Okay.
Because Tamil is according to the Tamil people, and I was
5,000.
not aware of any of those things. And a lot of people comment and they send you articles and they like you and they have like this. They worship their actors like gods. I mean,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
literally
yeah.
gods.
Yeah,
but
no, they do.
really are like big fans.
No, there was a joke in Malaysia that if you want to show any Rajnikant movies, you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Because if the film starts showing, you have some kind of technical difficulty, power outage, they will burn your cinema down.
Yeah, it's literally like that.
Right.
It's literally like, and Rajnikant is not even a Tamil person. I mean, like
Right.
not
He
even-
isn't?
he is a Maharashtrian from Mumbai
Okay.
who actually
Oh.
learned
Tamil for the movies.
for the movies, and
Okay.
and there's this whole thing where Rajnikant is basically working with these really amazing. I can't think of the names of these film directors in the 80s. Apparently, 80s there were really non-commercial Tamil films, which were
Right.
like there's a term for these kind of films. And now they're very commercialized, right? You have one gun hitting three guys.
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
very
yeah,
nice
yeah,
and
yeah.
making a lot of money, right?
Right.
But at that time, they were very art films.
Art
They were
film.
very, very
Rajnikant.
nice. Rajnikant. And now that thing has been taken over by Malayali films,
Oh,
which,
okay.
which make very nice films. There's this
Okay.
actor called Fadil
Oh, okay.
Fahad.
Okay.
Okay.
He apparently is like a big star in Malayali films, and the way they make the films, there's this guy called Vetri Maran. He's a director, Tamil director, and I watched his film who the main actor was Rajnikant's son-in-law.
But I know this dude, this skinny guy. Dhanush. Okay.
Man, he has this film with Vetrimaran. I watched that film, right? See, again, I can't remember the name of the film. I watched that film, and it was the first film I watched from Vetrimaran. Man, the way that guy makes films,
Right.
the way he integrates background music, how the film is paced, how it's made, it's among all the Tamil films that have action in it and all that, right? That Vetrimaran film is something else. He has a very unique, like when you're watching a Wes Anderson film, right?
Right.
It's a very unique flavor to
Right,
it. You
right.
watch it. Vetrimaran is
Just like that.
just like that.
Okay.
I have to confess, I don't actually watch a lot of Bollywood or those kind of
Bollywood.
films. Bollywood.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really watch a lot, but there's some that it's just like so popular you have to watch it. Like I was under a
Kuch
lot
Kuch
of
Hota
pressure to watch Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. So
Oh, that film.
that I was like everybody was watching
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and everybody was like, "Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it?"
When was
Okay.
that? Was it like when you were
Like in the
2001,
90s or 2000s
Early
or something
2000s,
like that. Yeah. So that's the film that Malayali films, right? There's actually a filmmaker called Fazil, Malayali filmmaker. Is that him? Is it Fazil Fahad?
No, it's Fahad Fadil. Maybe that's the actor.
Fazil Fahad Fasil.
Yeah, that's the one. Probably. Yeah, he's apparently known for doing really interesting films.
Artsy types.
Artsy type, but it's anybody, like you said, that anybody can pick up an iPhone and make a film, right? But there are certain rules that you need to follow
Right.
to make a certain, like if you want to write a book, you need to do research on your characters.
right,
There is a way of not just your story aspects, like your characters, but there's a way to write a sentence.
Right.
Right. You need to properly write sentences, paragraphs, and those are the rules of grammar that you have to follow. And
Right.
film has its own rules.
Right.
And you can actually see that if you have experience with a musician will tell you which album was nicely produced.
Right. Yes.
So a person who is actually into films and they have these small nuances, they can pretty much explain to you like, oh, watch this film because the sound is really good in it.
Right.
Or watch that film because that sequence was really nicely done. I'm blown away by it. How did they do that?
Right.
So those things really matter. And I think with his films, you sort of like identify those things like, oh, it's
Right.
really nicely done.
Right, you
They
can
might
see
not
the-
be the best films to watch, but
Right. In terms of maybe the story might not be that great, but
overall organism or
Right.
like the organization of the thing, right? It seems very presentable, which you
Right.
don't see in many films.
Right,
Like
right.
a TikTok video as an example is also a story told in 30 seconds, right?
technically,
But
yeah,
it,
you're right.
it might not be shot in the nice, perfect way, but as long as it makes money and views, right? People are watching. But you can't put it on
a
in
big
an
screen.
award show and
Right.
give it an award.
Yeah, but for me, I grew up with my grandma watching a lot of Tamil movies. Rajnikant, Kamal Hassan.
Kamal Hassan is another
Yeah,
person.
he's got some great stuff from the
He's
90s,
amazing.
80s. My goodness. And what I realized about this Tamil movies, Hindi movies, is they are all like, at some point you'll be crying a bit, for sure. And then there will always be it's about the feelings. You really feel happy.
Yeah.
And the dance part, you just like, okay, let's dance, whatever. But the rest of it, oh my goodness, the stories get you, man. You are crying like an idiot sometimes. You don't want to show your friends, but you really feel. I like Korean movies for the revenge kind of things.
Oh, wow.
They really do this revenge kind of stuff really
The
well.
Parasite.
Parasite,
was
yeah,
one.
that was good.
There was another series on Netflix which my girlfriend like worshipped that.
Okay, okay.
Thing. It was about this girl who got abused. in
Views,
school.
I watched that.
And
oh
she
my
comes
goodness.
back and she plays that like
Yeah, and
the
then-
checkers.
Yeah. And then she checkers or go? I can't remember.
I can't differentiate.
Yes, go with
Go.
the
With the
husband.
other guy.
Yeah.
And he's like so obsessed, like he wants to play the best person. I'm
best
like,
person.
"Whew."
Yeah, and they do it so well, dude. You're like, wow, you're rooting for the girl, but at the same time, like, oh, I'm gonna see
Yeah.
this guy's gonna get it.
Now Korean stuff I've actually watched the Squid Games.
Oh, Squid
that
Games,
was
okay,
good,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
This is the family you're talking about, right?
Oh yeah, that's the. I mean, I didn't know that his father was a filmmaker.
Yeah, his father
I
was a
don't know much.
filmmaker. So this is my cousin.
What?
Yeah, this guy here is my cousin.
What?
Are you
Dr.
serious?
Shafiq. Yeah.
He's here?
He's in no, he's in the UK right now. So he's married to
the
the sister.
England guy.
He's married to the sister. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's your
Yeah.
cousin?
It's actually, I guess, my second cousin.
Shaz, what are
Our-
you doing? You should
Yeah.
be making films.
He married the sister lah, so not in the industry, just somewhat related. You know what I
Okay,
mean? He was in Malaysia for a little while. He's a doctor. His mom and my mom are first cousins, so our grandfathers are brothers.
The guy
So,
you're
yeah.
talking about is the one in white.
Is this guy, yeah.
Right? And when you mentioned the name, it was like, "What does it sound somewhat familiar?" You know?
He
So,
works
yeah.
in Tamil films also.
Oh.
Recently there was a Malayali film which
Right.
was a superhero film.
Oh,
Have
okay.
you watched that film? Oh, it's on Netflix. Actually,
What's it called?
It's about. Don't ask me the name.
Okay.
Just type in Malayali superhero film.
Malayali superhero film.
It was so good.
Really?
The visual effects, everything
Right.
done so nicely. It was
Right.
like, man. I mean, it was.
Okay.
It is
okay.
a typical superhero
Right.
story arc, right?
Right.
Where there's this villain who gets abused by all the people, and then he
Right.
gets this
Right.
superpower at the
Right.
same
Yeah.
time with the hero.
Yeah.
But then at the end, how they develop that.
Is there a lot? Is there singing and dancing in it?
No, there's not.
No, I
On
see.
Netflix, actually, I'm surprised that they removed a very large aspect of what made Bollywood films
Right.
Bollywood films,
Right.
because in the 60s, like I mentioned, even in Tamil
Right.
films, the song was a way to progress the story.
Yeah, it's connecting the.
Yeah, it's like you can spend like 5 minutes in a song and the kid is already 20-year-old.
Right.
It made sense and it had like really nice lyrics.
Is the Indian version of the time lapse thing, right?
Yeah. And then now, I mean, like Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and all those movies, right? All those songs became a big industry because an album would make as much money as its film
Yeah.
tickets. So
Yeah.
they had to make music. But
Yeah.
now with the introduction of Netflix, all that is gone.
Gone.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Just so sad. All the
Yeah.
musicians are out of work.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know?
We
Do you
don't
know?
have
Here's
music.
here's a trivia for you. Do you know who is the most recorded artist in the world?
Is this Indian lady, right?
Lata
Lata
Mangeshkar.
Mangeshkar.
Lata Mangeshkar.
You know, she's been
45.
singing since 1940s.
Yeah.
And she went up all the way to 80s, right? Still got. Wow.
No, she sang in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
right.
She sang in the 2005 film, 2007 film.
Wow. Yeah, that's a legend.
Yeah. All of these cinemas, they've been operating for so long, even Korean cinema, right? And even in the beginning, they copy it a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
All Korean cinema, Indian cinema, they copy a lot from American Hollywood films.
Yeah.
But now the original stuff,
Comes from India, Korea,
it's good. It's
super good.
Yeah. So I think sometimes at the beginning it's not so bad to copy if you're a new industry. Eventually, it will lead to other things as well. Yeah.
You sort of learn a lot from. It's not just the story you're copying, but it's
Yeah.
the entire process of filmmaking.
Correct. Yeah.
You
yeah.
learn anything by copying someone else.
That's
I mean,
very
you don't have to.
Yeah.
But if you wanna learn how to paint, you learn how to paint Picasso's.
Yeah.
So you learn how to use the brushes and all that. So
Technically, yeah, I am actually learning to draw. I used to doodle all my life, but I never really. Sometimes I'll draw, it'll come out right. Sometimes I draw, it'll come out wrong. But then I realized you just have to learn the process, I guess, the steps.
yeah.
That's all it is. You know how to do the circle, and then you can do, and then you start copying.
Right.
Oh, I like that drawing. I'm gonna try, and then eventually you get your own. I still haven't got my own yet, but I understand the process.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
that
Yeah.
process that-
This is the problem. I don't know whether you guys can give me input on this, all right?
Okay.
Our podcast is running way past the time that it's supposed to
Okay.
run, by the way.
Oh, shit.
To do a feature-length film, right? Especially if you're doing it on a budget, okay?
When you say feature length, must it be X number of minutes or something like
Yeah,
that?
like 1 hour, 20 minutes minimum. 1 hour, 15 minutes.
90
maybe.
minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
90
90 minutes, somewhere like that, yeah. So 1.5 hours would be like just about the right time. But let's say you have a little less than that, 75 minutes, okay. There's some movies that it's a little short, but you can work it during that time. So the problem with that is that something like that is going to cost an amount of money, and you're going to do it on a budget. And again, when your target is here and your budget is here, the problem of your quality of your film will drop significantly, right? And you want to work with a crew that you know, right? There's going to be some stuff that you got to outsource. Like I think lights, sound, that kind of stuff you need to outsource it. It might not be the same person, it might be different people, but you can't be bothered about the lights. The thing needs to be lighted. And I realize that when I'm doing production, I don't want people coming up to me, hey Shaz, is the lights okay? Is this okay? Like, you need to know if this is lit well or not. I can't be like worried about all this other stuff. So I was thinking of doing the end will be a feature. Before that, 2 pilots or maybe 1 pilot and 2 short films, something like that. So it's like 4 projects in a row. So that way we work with a bunch of same people and we build up to
A feature film.
build up to that feature film. Yeah.
The rest.
Then at least at the end of that, we shoot all of this within a year. At the end of that, we all have experience working together. I know some people have short film for 100,000. I don't know anyone that shot it for 50,000, and even 50,000 is a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. But idea is that you shoot 50,000, you should be able to get it back if you can sell it somewhere.
Is 50,000 reasonable for a film?
Not really. No. You want to shoot professionally? Not really. No. A proper budget for a film should be somewhere in the region of about 500,000. 50,000 is guerrilla filmmaking already.
With DSLRs and
Yeah, it's guerrilla filmmaking.
Blair Witch Project kind of thing. Okay.
No, it doesn't have to be Blair Witch. It's like maybe you don't have control over all your locations. A lot of your actors, they're doing it.
Pro bono.
Not necessarily pro bono, but for like just like okay money, And a lot of your crew are doing it for fun. And it's also controversial to do film like that. You know why?
Okay.
People are saying that like you're not paying people what they deserve.
Deserve, right.
Like actors deserve some, sound guys deserve, which is all true, but it's almost like if you don't have that money, you can't make film. Then that's a little messed up, right?
Barriers of entry, basically. Barriers of entry.
There's some politics in everything that you do, right? Because they're saying, if you don't do this, if you don't pay this amount of money, you're not appreciating local talent, blah blah blah.
Is there a union in
No,
Malaysia?
there's no union. But everything that you do, there's going to be, some controversy in whatever it is, right? So that's the thing.
Bukan
When you got
some-
money, okay, no problem, can settle.
Isn't there some kind of film actors guild around?
Not in Malaysia.
That's a US thing.
Yeah.
Actors guild, okay.
I think in Malaysia, talent-wise, is only Voice Guild, I think.
Yeah.
Can't think of
Voice Guild
anything
has
else.
a really strong thingamajig. You can't just simply, undercut people's pay or whatever. Somebody's gonna make noise.
Yeah, especially don't pay.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a stop work order.
Stop work order,
Yeah.
blackball.
Yeah. A lot of the big media companies kena a lot of times already. Stop work order. And then they pay.
Yeah.
Then they all panic and then they pay.
which is what's happening in US.
US,
also.
the
Yeah.
writers strike.
The writers got their deal already.
Oh, what is the deal?
Close to everything that they asked for. Protection against AI. The thing is that the protection against AI, I understand their concern, but I think that you just use AI as a tool. Don't treat
Yeah.
it as a writer.
Yeah.
You can use it as a tool to create a script, but you still got to pay your writers certain amount of money to make it better, right?
Right.
And they wanted to do some other things. AI, and I think they wanted more money, better residuals. Yeah, because
the residuals like the Netflix thing because they're not
Yeah.
getting Netflix residuals, right?
yeah. So from like 10,000, 20,000, they were getting like 200, like 1/10 of what
The
they were
checks
getting.
they were
The
getting.
checks they were getting, yeah.
Wow.
So there were cases where you would go and win an Emmy award for this film and you don't have money to pay your rent. I think film, right, is something that a lot of people are interested in, but maybe it's a very expensive hobby. You can't like do it like stand up, right?
Right.
Sometimes people don't read the scripts also, right? The old
Yeah.
scripts. They have to read to understand how.
Right.
And they have this thing like specifically at the hour mark, or sometimes 45 minutes to the hour mark. There's this the thing that happens to the hero that carries them forward. Like Harry Potter realizes that Voldemort is whatever.
Yeah.
All of that happens sometimes if you watch some films exactly at the 60-minute mark to
Oh.
the dot. So
Wow.
yeah, so they
I
have.
will pay attention to this.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And there's another thing, which is that in the first 5 minutes of your movie, something needs to happen that grabs the audience attention. If you don't have that in the first 5 minutes, people don't want to watch
the
your film.
first 5 pages
In the first
only.
5 pages, you need to have that.
Right.
Yeah. You can't just like 15 pages in and only in the first 5 minutes everybody's talking. Your film is not going to be that good.
There are these Bollywood. I'm gonna say the last thing before.
Right.
we
Sure.
end.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's this
Yeah.
Bollywood. Amitabh Bachchan was
Right.
Amitabh Bachchan.
really
Yeah.
big, right? And one of the biggest film in Bollywood that is considered like Godfather sort of level, right? Is called Sholay.
Okay.
Sholay.
It was actually made in 1973 or 78. I'm not sure. and it basically had technicians from Hollywood. They came, and it was the first 70
Right.
Bollywood film,
Right.
right? And it was like a big spectacle. The movie made like a lot of money. It was still big. The villain is more famous than the heroes. In the
Right.
movie. The writer of the film, who is the father of Salman Khan.
Oh, wow.
And another one is his name is Salim Khan, and the other partner was Javed Akhtar. Javed, they got separated in the 1980s, and Javed Akhtar started writing lyrics for Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. And many
Right.
of the films that
Right.
we enjoy, he wrote the lyrics for it, but he stopped writing stories or films. But that duo produced some really amazing films
Okay.
in the 70s and 80s. Javed Akhtar's children apparently became filmmakers.
Okay.
And one of them, the daughter is Zoya Akhtar, and the son is Farhan Akhtar.
Okay.
You must have seen the film Bhag Milka Bhag, where there's a Sardar guy with turban and is about a real life story, sports biopic.
Oh,
Apparently, their film, they have a production company, Excel Entertainment, and I think the daughter has like Tiger Baby. You pick any of their series that they've actually made. It follows the same textbook sort of
Right.
like rules of like storytelling.
Right.
But they do it so well. I mean, like anytime you pick it up, like you're like, oh yeah, I read about this thing that they wrote in that book about like how do you introduce your characters. But then there
It
are
works.
Right.
there are things, but how do you introduce it? Like it's very
Yeah.
subtle. You can put salt in food to make it tasty, right?
Right.
right.
But how much you put it, and when
Where do you put it? When do you put it?
When do
Yeah.
you put it? And
Yeah.
Correct.
and all those things matter
Yeah.
inside a script.
That is actually true. I've read that you shouldn't salt stuff while you're cooking it. You salt it after, apparently, so the salt doesn't fuck around with the whatever's happening.
Yeah.
I guess so. But at the same time, you don't want to feel the grain of the salt, right? You need to cook into the food. Anyway, we're diverging a little bit already.
Okay.
This has been a good podcast, I
I
think.
liked it, and I dare say this is the episode where we talk the most about film.
Probably, yeah. The last episode we were just like laughing and screaming to
Mostly
the
because
mic.
you two guys are proper film people.
Right. Yeah. I guess so.
My only thing with
Film
is
nerds.
Film
I've
nerds.
only acted in one short film, and that was like 10 seconds. That's
Right.
it. That's my limit of my involvement in film.
Okay. What? Yeah. I mean, at least that's something there,
Okay,
right?
man.
Thank you so much for coming.
Dash.
Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you. Yeah, trying to talk about film, but this time
We actually talked about film.
We did. We talked mostly about film, 90% about film, and not porn.
Right.
Which is also fun.
It's also film.